And just notice here what is happening within the body as we begin to go deeper through the layers. First, noticing maybe the skin stretching on the right side. Then maybe noticing that layer right beneath it, which is your fascia, your webbing that holds your body together, stretching deeper. And then maybe going another level deeper into the lymph system. The lymph system is what carries blood through the rest of the body as well, through the veins. And it actually helps us to fight pathogens. Imagine you could feel and see all of that. And then going deeper into the muscles. Breathing in and out. Good. And then gently support yourself. Bring the right arm back up. And bring the hand behind your hip. Bring the left hand behind your hip or your glutes and extend the right leg out. And just kind of lean into it. Just kind of soften into the lower back. Bring the big toes to touch and open. Touch and open. And just get really familiar and soft with the body to nourish yourself. Okay, and then we're going to do this on the left side. So now we're going to bring the left foot into the right leg, right thigh. Rotate the chest towards the right leg. Don't contract so much the muscles today. Look for 60% work. Lengthen the spine, and then gently walk the hands forward. Use the hands as your brakes to not go too far. Once you find that length, then lower the chin. Bring the chin into the sternum. And come back to that low, deep breath. Long, deep breath. And discover what's happening behind the right leg, maybe in the lower back, as you encourage the skin to stretch, to nourish, to rehydrate. So when the body is very stiff and you haven't given it ample time to recover, the muscles begin to tense, the fascia begins to tense, the lymph nodes begin to tense, and they become dehydrated. Think of it as a rock versus a sponge. We want the body to be sponge-like, porous, to receive liquid and to drain and move fluidity with a gliding effect so that we can heal and fight whatever it is in the body that needs to be removed, those pathogens. And we create a balanced way in which we can hold our body with not too much resistance and too much lethargy. Good, and then walk the hands towards the body again, towards the hips. Re-lengthen the spine, just feel it. And then bring the right hand over to the left knee. Lengthen again, lift the left arm. Soft through the shoulders though, soft through the face. And then gently reach over to the right. And again, you can just hang here. Gentle pressure on the left inner thigh with the right hand. Or you can grab the toe. And again, just work 60%. Get out of that goal orientation and to always reaching that center bullseye and come into steps or come into contribution towards center, towards balance, towards healing, towards recovery. If you're always going towards perfect, you'll burn out. So release that need to burn out, to constantly move. Good. Take one more long, deep breath. And then go ahead, release the legs, lift the arms up, and bring them behind your hips. Extend the left leg in front of you. Kind of lean back into this kind of like lazy, not too much work, and make the big toes go in and out. Just let them release. Good. Okay, now I'd like you to go ahead and bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor, and roll onto your right hip. I'm going to go ahead and move my blankets out of the way. Some of you may want to put it under your knees, but I'm rolling to the right hip and bring the right forearm down. And then I'd like you to bring the left leg forward and to kick it out in front of your stomach and just let it hang there for a second. So just rest on that right forearm, just kind of hang there. Maybe even turn the chest down slightly. And just explore the stretching of the muscles behind the left leg. And then if it's not too much work, take the left arm to grab the right foot and gently encourage it to go back a little bit more. And you can just hang out here for a second and just feel what this is like in the body. Just a gentle stretch through the front of the right quad and the hind left leg as the spine begins to awaken, to nourish, and maybe even think about the element of water and kind of surrendering to the water. Good. And then if your body allows, if you're okay today, I'd like you to go ahead and lower completely down to the right shoulder. Bring the right to the head down, more towards the right temple. And then maybe coil the spine to face up to the ceiling. Bound on that right toe for a breath or two. And then if you're comfortable, let the left arm open up like a T and just hold here. If the right arm easily grabs the left big toe, you can do that instead. And just feel this gentle tugging of the skin behind the left leg and opening up of the chest with the left palm open to the ceiling. And then again, become aware of the breath. Notice the breath on its own, independent of the body. And then notice the length of the inhale. Notice the length of the exhale. And remember that number now. Stick with it for a few more breaths. Remember the length, if maybe it's an inhale of 4, an exhale of 5. Just kind of take note of it and just stay with that cadence of your breath. And as you gently bring some awareness to the body that's usually restless, to the mind that's usually restless, begin to tame it, breath by breath, consistently coming back to it. If you're bound on the right side of your hands to the toe, release that left toe. Bring the left knee to a bend, rolling into that fetal position again to the right. Take a breath to recover. And then gently roll onto your spine with your knees bent again towards the ceiling. Walk your feet out as wide as your yoga mat and let the knees collapse. Bring the hands to rest either on the stomach or down by your sides. And just be still. Breathe into the entire width of your lower back. Your lower back, again, is that, I call it today, the dumpster of our stress. It is where all of the fascia lines meet. If you've been on any of my classes this week, you've heard this. All of your fascia, the deep fascia line of the front, the back, the left, the right, the arms, the spiral, there are 12 of them, but all of them intertwine like yarn at the lower back. So nourish that. Breathe deeply there, in and out, just to recover. Breathe in and out to recover. Good, and then go ahead and separate the knees and roll into the fetal position to the left. Again, if you need to put the blanket under your knees for support, you can do that. Rolling to the fetal position to the left. And then extend the top leg straight in front of the stomach. And then maybe with the right hand, grab the big toe, the bottom big toe, which is the left leg, and gently guide it back. And just kind of hang out for a second. Just breathe. Just feel that release through the front of the body. And then once you feel the skin has stretched, release the big toe with the right fingers and open the right arm open like a T, palm up. And maybe take the left fingers and grab the big toe of the right leg and coil the spine even more towards the ceiling. Close your eyes. And with very little effort, maybe you can turn your head just a small degree to the right. And just breathe in and out. Long, deep breath. First, notice the breath on its own. In through the nostrils and out. All twists work to nourish and restore your kidneys. So think about that sensation you may be feeling in that lower spine over to the side a little. And just feel that nourishment there, that attention, that sponge squeezing effect. Regulating your stress response with a nice, slow, qualitative breath. Feeling the circulation redistributing into this side of the body where you feel the sensation. Good, and then go ahead and release the big toe or wherever you're bound now. Bring both knees back over towards the left into the fetal position. And roll onto your spine. Now take that blanket or that pillow or block, yoga block if you have it, and I'd like you to bring it rolled up pretty high to about the height of a yoga block. And I'd like you to place it right underneath your tailbone, right beneath your lower back. And then I'd like you to get the feet, wide as your yoga mat, and bring the knees together. Allow them to collapse. Bring the arms down by your sides, and allow the lower back to just relax, to melt towards the ground. And just stay there effortlessly with your sacrum supported by the blanket, by the pillow, or the yoga block. And we're going to stay here again for some long, deep breaths. Letting the knees effortlessly fall towards one another. And again, counting your inhales and the length of your exhales, keeping your knees relaxed towards one another. Don't change it, just notice it. Be content and indulge in your breath. Indulge in the stillness. Hang out there in your lower back, letting it melt. Welcome that element of water again to nourish, and to just simply feel the effects of your practice. Good. And then go ahead and widen the knees. Remove the blanket or block out from the sacrum. Just set it to the side for a moment. And let the knees simply, with the legs wide, fall left and right. Just windshield wiper left and right. And the knees will be separate, right? They don't need to stack. Just nice and easy, left and right. Good. And then coming up to stillness again with the knees pointed straight up. Good. Go ahead and bring the knees into the chest. Hold on to the shins. And then with your inhale, lift your chest up to meet your legs. And kind of curl your chin in towards your sternum and hold yourself with a little bit more tensegrity, a little bit more muscle activation. Yeah. And then gently rock left and right. Left and right a couple of times. And then up and down the spine until you find yourself seated upright with your legs out in front of you and crossed. So the spine tends to get stuck and tight all along the up and down, right? The lower back up into the neck. So we're gonna look to release the spine in all those 6 directions to stretch out these muscles, these lymph nodes, these tensegrities of body, of tension, to create a softness around us. So sit up nice and tall. And again, if you need that support underneath your glutes here, so you have a downward slope and you're not dumping into the dumpster, please adjust yourself. And then bring the left hand over to the right knee, the right hand behind your right glute. 60% effort, lengthen. And then turn your chest 60%, right? Over to the right. And then turn the chin slightly over to the right shoulder. Maybe even drop the chin down towards the right collarbone a little bit. And just find that nice breath, that equality of your breath, As you bring this gentle twist into compression of the right side of the lower back, where your QL, your quadratus muscle here, your stability muscle. Hydrate it from being fatigued. And whenever the body works too much or is under too much stress, we tend to accumulate into these points of accumulation of stress, the trigger points. And the biggest one, like I said, in the lower back. So nourish here, breathe in, and breathe out. Go ahead and drop the chin all the way down, soften through the shoulders, and walk the hands back to the middle of the knees. One hand on the left knee, one hand on the right, and sit up tall. Allow room for the body to respond, to settle in. Right hand over to the left knee, left hand behind your glute on the ground, and then twist 60% to the left. Turn your chest towards the left, turn your chin towards the left, and then drop the chin towards the left collarbone. Take away that need for overstretching, and just breathe here. Releasing that chin down, please. Long, deep breaths. First, feel the breath on its own. Indulge with the simplicity of the breath that ends up being actually the biggest factor of softening the body, the tension in the body, with this small attention to the smallest of details that have the largest impact. Taking one more long, deep breath. And then bring the chin down to the collarbone. Let it just relax. Relax the shoulders. And then turn the chest back to center and gather information again. Left hand on the left knee, right hand on the right knee. Just gather information. Retreat to your breath. Retreat to your whole body. Now we're going to bring the right hand outside of the right hip. Lift the left arm up without overreaching. And gently reach the weight or bring the weight into the right hand. And then soften and gather weight in the left glute to feel something deeper happening through the left rib cage. First, draw the chin down to look towards the right hip. Maybe even rest your chin on the right collarbone. And just feel the skin of the body stretching. Maybe through the left wrist, down through the left armpit, and then I want you to pause into the left armpit. Just keep your chin down for a moment though. And I want you to think about the left armpit for a moment. And if you've ever felt soreness there, especially as ladies, we're very sensitive to this area. We're always kind of feeling the left side of the body in the armpit is where we hold all of the, I want to say, inflammation or lymph nodes for the whole body, where we can really have a huge effect of how properly the lymphatic system works just by bringing some gentle awareness and pressure there. So all of the body is in the left armpit except for the right arm and the right chest. Everything else is held there in this left armpit. So now lift your chin up and look towards the left elbow or left armpit and kind of make little circles with the left hand like you're opening and closing a doorknob. Open and close the doorknob. And just breathe. Good. And then go ahead and inhale, lift the left arm up and release the left hand down by its side and just feel all that circulation coming back into the left arm and left shoulder. Center, indulge in the stillness and in the breath. Good, now we're gonna bring that left hand outside the left hip and onto the ground. Adjust your posture and lift the right arm up. Again, without overachieving, just sending the awareness now to the right side of the body. Lean your weight into the left hand with a soft left elbow. Grow heavy in the weight to the right hip and turn the chin down to look towards the left hip. Bring the left chin down towards the left collarbone. And long, deep breaths. So this is a very calming, cooling practice today. So I don't want you to overextend like we do with a really strong hatha practice, more of a gentle, an awareness, a softness. Are we frozen? No, we're good. Okay. Everybody's frozen though. I love it. And then go ahead and bring that awareness now to the right armpit. So turn your chin up towards the right side now. Maybe towards the right elbow or the right armpit. And just feel all of that skin stretching through the right armpit, through the lymph nodes. And the lymph nodes are actually what are mostly responsible for creating white blood cells that fight off pathogens. So imagine yourself here just helping to restore you in perfect health, perfect balance. Support it now with the breath. Support your energy and your healing with your breath. And then turn that doorknob, right? Turn the doorknob with the hand. As you gently massage through and bring some sensation and stretch through the layers of the body. Good. And then go ahead and reach all the way back up with the right arm and release that by its hip. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and lean back again, bring the hands behind our hips. Our legs are crossed if you're comfortable there. Roll the shoulders back. And just hold still here. Just take a moment to restore. So very important part of the cooling practice is to bring yourself to those moments of stillness and to sensation so you can see the difference as you come in and out of postures. Okay, now go ahead and walk your hands towards your hips and bring the soles of your feet together. Again, prop up if you need to on a blanket. And then bring your hands, if your spine can be held now straight without support, bring your hands to your ankles. And then just gently extend the spine forward straight until the elbows naturally, without force, fall into the inner thighs. And then drop your chin down into the sternum. Let the belly get very soft. Let the breath get very soft. And allow the body to respond to the softness. Let the muscles just relax and untense. And then I'd like you to bring your awareness to your groin, the left groin in particular. And just gather information into the left groin. And sometimes you'll feel in your groin, in your area right here in your hips, when you've overworked the day before, right? You get really tight and it's like, whoa, what did I do? Sometimes it's just fatigue. This is another spot in which your lymph nodes gather. And then bring your attention into your right groin and just gather information. If the mind is restless, come back to your breath. And then again, support the body with the arms. Press into the hands, lift the elbows, lift the chest, and lift the head. And then cross the ankles, bring the hands in front, and come into tabletop. So if you need the blanket under your knees, of course, you can bring the blanket under your knees for support. So in tabletop, just spread the hands out, get the shoulders underneath, or the shoulders over the wrists, or wrists under the shoulders. And I'd like you to simply glide the left knee forward. Glide the left knee forward behind the left wrist. And then I'd like you to bring the left knee over to the left about 3 to 4 inches. And just hold yourself up here. So I've got space about 8 inches between my pelvic and the ground, and my hands are my strength here. And then I'd like you to lengthen the chest forward and open the shoulders. Then I'd like you to bring the right heel up towards the right back or glute and release. We're just going to do this, kind of flossing through that right quadricep, which tends to get tight and causes even pain in the knee. So just left knees out to the left, And the right leg is just moving up and down. Good. Couple more. Keep the belly tight so you don't dump too much in the spine. And then release the right shin all the way down. Bring the left knee behind the left wrist again, and bring the shin out in front of you, the left shin, so that it's horizontal to the front of the mat. And then bring the right knee forward and in line with the right hip. So both of my legs are a 90-90. And I have a deep internal rotation here of my right hip, my right leg, and I have a deep external rotation of my left leg. Okay, and I just want you to center out. So a lot of people, if they use their lower backs as that dumpster, it's really hard. You can't sit up straight. So if you need to support yourself with a blanket under your hips, do that. Scoop your belly in. And then walk your hands forward. Use them as brakes so that you can feel how far you need to go to create just a little feedback. And then allow the left elbow to maybe come down. Use that right hand as a brake, if it's okay. Then the right elbows come down. And then just gently lengthen the spine forward. And then once you find that forward release, drop the chin again towards the sternum and round the back. Okay, and then again, hold here. You've got a nice opposite tensegrity happening of strength and of release. So kind of bounce your breath back and forth between the hips. Learn to relieve tension before you think of going deeper or trying harder. Learn to breathe to relieve tension so that as your mind or your body becomes challenged, you can redirect it into softening. Now, if you're still okay and the body is comfortable and you want to extend all the way down to a full pigeon pose, you can continue to move back with that right leg into a straight right leg. The left shin stays to the front of the mat. And the arms, or the hands, I should say, act as your brakes. And then the left elbow maybe releases, the right elbow maybe releases. And then rest your forehead, if you can, on your hands or a block, just wherever feels comfortable. And we're going to stay here for 10 breaths. But now I'd like you to count how long the inhale is and how long the exhale is. And I'd like you to see if you can match what it was when we first counted your breaths a little bit ago, and come back to that same ratio for about 3 or 4 of the breaths. And then I'd like you to add a count to the exhale. So if you were at 4 and 5, maybe now you're at 4 and 6. And then breathe the remaining breaths here in pigeon pose with this exaggeration of the exhale, which we know brings us into parasympathetic nervous system, which is a release and calming of it. And whenever the nervous system is relaxed, we are in more health. We are more in rejuvenation of nourishment and hydration of all of the body, all of those layers of the body. Good, and then set aside the technique of the posture itself, of the shape itself. Focus only on the breath, independently, indulge in it. And then use your hands now as the gas to press into them and lift the chest up. Bring the right leg forward, cross your legs, and restore in a comfortable posture again. Soften here, feel your spine a little taller, your body, your balance, your mental state a little more centered. And then bring the hands in front of the shins and come back to tabletop. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tops of the feet down. And then we're going to simply slide the right knee forward behind the right wrist. And then outside of the wrist, about 3, 4, 6 inches, it depends on your body. And then slide the left knee back just a few inches. Use the hands as brakes. Pull the lower belly in. And already become aware of that left hip. Your gaze is just slightly forward of the mat. And then we just bring the left heel up and down. And you can kind of play with this here with the intensity of what you feel in this left quad. And next week, we're going to do a class just on fascia. We're going to use tennis balls and foam rollers and blocks. And if you don't have any of that, I'm going to make little bundles that everybody can come pick up if they want them. But this is kind of just a small introduction of some of what we will do, but with different support systems. Okay, go ahead and lift or leave that left shin down. Take a breath. Just feel what you've done, the changes. And then go ahead and come down to the right hip. Bring the right shin 90 to the front of the body and bring the left knee outside of the left hip so it's even, and the left shin is bent 90 degrees as well. Okay, and then again, take surveillance of the posture. Notice if you are less dumping and more strength and balanced. And then begin to use the hands in front of the shin as your brakes and bring the left elbow down. Maybe bring the right elbow down. Lengthen the spine for just a moment and then round and bring the chin into the sternum. And then bring all of this awareness to the stretching you feel in the skin of the left hip, maybe some of you in the right hip. And feel that layer beneath it, your fascia, your tissues that hold memory and emotions and have nerve endings in them. And we all know that nerve endings send impulses or pulses to our brain of communication, anywhere that there's nerve endings. And if you can retrain the fascia, the nerve endings, that in times of stress, and right now we're just demanding a little bit of stress upon the body, that if you retreat back to the breath, that you can stay calm in the nervous system by bringing this gentle awareness to the fascia to communicate up and down the spine through all of the webbing of the body to soften, to not resist. And if you're still okay here and you'd like to go deeper, you can come into full pigeon pose. Extending that left leg all the way behind you now. Resting the forehead right on top of the wrists. And coming back into that softness, the effect of the energetic system through the different shapes in the body and in ways that we respond to it. Feel completely supported. Come back to that breathing count like we did on the first side. That lengthened exhale to retrain the nervous system to soften. Breathing in and breathing out, connecting to the body. Orient yourself around the softness of the body, the mind, with just a moderate intensity of the stretch. Good. Let's take just 2 more rounds of breath here. And then using your hands, your palms as the gas to lift up the chest. And then shift the right knee forward, or both knees actually forward, and come into tabletop. And then come all the way up to standing on the knees, again with a blanket underneath them for support if you need it. Bring your hands to your lower back, but I'd like you to do it if your shoulders allow you, with your palms on the base and your fingertips pointed up. Squeeze your elbows together. And then become aware of your pubic bone, wanting to go forward or encouraging it to go forward. So use your hands to kind of encourage the pubic bone to go forward. And just feel this gentle stretch of the skin in the front of the legs. And then from there, your toes can be tucked or untucked. It's whatever you're comfortable with on your knees. Lengthen your spine up or your rib cage up. And then lift your chest or your spiritual heart to the ceiling. Squeeze your elbows together and hold here. Bring your awareness to all of the deep front line of the body. Allowing yourself to just hold this posture. And then I'd like you to return back to the breath. And then hold this back bend with your eyes closed and experience the feelings emotionally charged here. Some people feel excitement, some people feel fear, and it changes from day to day. But back bends are a huge release of the front of the body, which is most of our information that we gather for the day, where it accumulates. And unless you allow it to release, to stretch, to hydrate, which is what you're doing, they get stuck. Good. Inhale, support yourself and lift all the way up. And then exhale, hands down to the floor and take a child's pose. And again, retreat to yourself. Knees can be wide or together. It's completely up to you. Yeah. And just again, bring your awareness to the left and the right side of the lower back. And just breathe. Regulate your stress response. Bring in the water element again. And then please lower down to your stomachs, all the way flat to your stomach. And then I'd like you to bring your arms into that goal post, lift your elbows to be even with your shoulders, and turn your head to the right. Let the toes be untucked, and then lift the head up just a little bit to lengthen the neck. Feel it stretch the skin of the left chest, and then re-release the left ear, the left temple down, and keep the elbows, if you can, even with the shoulders. Not higher, not lower if it's comfortable, just right there. And we're gonna stay here. The body is going to want to turn your head. Now I'm gonna ask you to try to resist that need to let go and just keep your head twisted to the right. So the neck. The neck is another place in which all of your fascia intertwines. And then another analogy I was thinking of is think about that chain that got all knotted up. And it takes you several days or maybe the invitation of another person to help you unknot that chain. And if you don't take the time to unknot it, well, it's no good. So your neck is kind of like that chain. And it gathers all of this tension and tightness, just like the lower back does. So think of it as unknotting that chain, but unknotting your very ropey-like muscles in your neck. And just breathe in and out. Soft breathe in, soft breath out. And then begin to regulate the breath a little bit more by bringing your attention to the diaphragm and the lower belly right beneath the ribs. And maybe feel inhale, kind of pushing into gravity. And exhale, coming away. And just feel this circulation kind of being restored throughout the spine here. All the way up into the cervical spine with this deep restorative posture, completely held by the ground, by the earth. With soft eyes, soft expression, with a sweetness inside of you, with a compassion and with love inside of you. Of leaning into your body, leaning into your energy. And we're going to stay here for about 10 more breaths. Resist that need to move. Feel that gentle pressure on the side of your face, the muscles in your face, the tissues in your face, even the bone in your face. Lean into it. Become very aware now within your neck area, with that connection of your head and the rest of your body, how important it really is. Welcome the breath to support your energy, to lift the head up off the ground and slowly turn it in the opposite direction and feel that resurgence of circulation. and then melt into the floor again. Maybe lift up your head, lengthen the neck to turn deeper to the other direction, and find a comfortable place to rest. Find a comfortable place to soften and melt into. Feel all the lymphatic system through all the body, the blood pass on that pushes out through the circulatory system, carrying with it those health cells, those white blood cells to push out pathogens made by your lymph nodes, to drain all of the toxins out of the body so that you can feel most of your tension just completely melt away in this very soft posture that has a grand effect, a grand release for the whole body. And for the most part, the lymph nodes are right underneath the skin, so they don't need much work to release. So you can easily manipulate them and stimulate them with just a gentle turn of the head. Allow the traps that are right beneath the neck, our tense muscles, to quiet, to soften. Those workhorses of the body that hold tension, allow them to just relax. Feel gravity now with the belly at the diaphragm as you inhale and you push into the earth, and then the earth pushes back as you exhale. Indulge in the stillness and indulge in this breath. The greatest gift you can give yourself right now is self-control, self-possession of softness and compassion to yourself. Get to know yourself at a deeper level, the way that your body responds to stimulation, to become more aware of yourself and accustomed to the stillness and quietness, the softness and the need to always reach, but instead just pause and experience where you are. Good. Take 3 more breaths here to become again familiar with the breath to support the energy, and the energy to inhale and lift the head all the way up. Turn your head back to the other side just to feel all of that circulation resurgence. Indulge in this, relax in this. Take a deep breath in, and then bring both of your forearms to center with your elbows underneath your shoulders, please. Elbows under your shoulders and Sphinx pose. And then we're just going to gradually lengthen the spine up. Inhale. Shoulder squeeze. Long exhale and retract and round the spine. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Lift the chin up. Gaze over the nose. Exhale and retract. 2 more, please. Inhale. And exhale. Last one, inhale, and soften, exhale. Good. And then go ahead and lift up your hips so that your knees and your elbows support you, and walk the knees forward underneath the hips again. Create a straight back and extend your right leg straight with the toes reaching into the ground so that the toes are curled towards the top of the foot. And then press the heel back. And then come off of that resistance halfway. And then push back again, about 75% work, just to stretch the muscles of the calf. Nurture and water those muscles behind the calf. Let's do 1 more. And then hold it at about 70% work. Strengthen the spine. Pull the navel in. Deep breath in through the nose, and then exhale, right knee down beside the left knee. Send the hips back, child's pose, elbows straight, forehead down. Good. And then go ahead and lift back up to the elbows and the knees. Extend the left leg behind you, toes into the ground, and then press about 75% back, stretching the left calf, and then come out of it a little bit. Take a breath, and then reach back again, and then go forward. Just kind of gently manipulate the tissues of the skin, the tissues of the lymph nodes, the tissue of the fascia, the muscles and the bones. Good. And then stillness again, invite that momentarily stillness. And then please bring the left knee beside the right knee. Press into the hands to lift the elbows. And then take the left arm under the chest and bring the left temple down and thread the needle. The hips stay nice and high. And then I'd like you to go a little bit deeper here into the thoracic spine stretch. So a little bit more tensegrity in the body, which is just a fancy way of saying that muscle strength. And take the right arm forward. And then with that tensegrity, kind of pull the knees forward without moving them and pull the left shoulder back. To encourage this hydration to the upper back, which we get tight nodules in. And just find some deep breaths here with that work, that 75% work. And then back out of that work about halfway. So you're only working about 40%, 30%. Take a few breaths here. And then completely let go here. Just hold the body soft. Good. And then coming back up to tabletop, please. And then other side, thread your needles. Soft face, close your eyes. Extend that front arm forward with the elbow up. And bring that tensegrity of 75% work. Squeeze towards one another. Notice how the breath changes as the shape and the work changes in the body and how the body responds to the stimulation. And then we'll come out of it 50%, work a little less. Notice how the breath responds to that. And then a little bit more until you're just soft everywhere. And then come back to that long, deep breathing again. That long, deep breathing where the exhale was exaggerated, quite longer than the inhale. Keep that number in your head. And then shift out of this twist into this needle and come back up to tabletop. Cross your ankles and come to crisscrossed legs. Come to seated on your glutes. Good. And then I'd like you to go ahead and get your blankets or towel, whatever you had, and open it up wide-ish. And you're going to roll it up like a Tootsie Roll, nice and long, the best that you can. And then maybe if you have like a sweatshirt or something handy, you may want to put it where your head's going to go so it's a little bit more elevated. And then I'd like you to come with the bottom of your blanket or Tootsie Roll to your tailbone, that dumpster ground. And then bring the legs in front of you, bend the knees. Support your body weight with your hands and just gently lean back and just bring that gentle pressure into the tailbone, into the back to give you that stimuli of your skin to the stimuli of the blanket, and lower down slowly to your elbows and then slowly to your head. So your head is supported by the blanket. Again, if you have something close by, a yoga block, anything, just get yourself comfortable because this is where we're going to stay for Shavasana. And then extend your legs out in front of you and just get really comfortable. Extend the legs out in front of you and feel completely supported here. And just gather this information with this blanket rolled up underneath you. Allow yourself to drop into this position. And then once you feel comfortable, supported, your head is where it needs to be, your back is supported, come back into that lengthened exhale. And just do this for a few breaths. Get comfortable with this stillness. Allow your physical body, your energetic body to respond to this again, to this new position and shape. And then let the arms just be completely still down by your sides with the palms faced up to receive this healing. Good, get your knees comfortable, get your legs comfortable. And then I'd like you to linger at the bottom of your exhale for a moment longer. And then take your next round of inhale. And then again, you exhale. Linger at the bottom of the exhale for a moment. And then inhale. And then do that a few times. And just see how that allows your body, how your mind, your mental state, your emotional state responds to that. Just explore yourself, that greatest gift of getting familiar with how you respond to stimuli. And then let the control of the breath go and stay with the natural, soft, nourishing inhale and exhale. Set aside your technique and find yourself just still. Set aside with your achievement and just notice how these gentle postures affected you so much for your energy today. Be content with how much you learned on how you can relieve tension to set yourself up for compassion and balance, and how you can let go of this performance anxiety of achieving when you just come out of things a little bit more. Open your perspective. When you're overstimulated or overactive with the physical body, the mind, it does have a direct effect on how you live your life, how you perform, not just in your work, but your personal life, your relationships. You put these impossible demands around you and everywhere. Just feel yourself supported now as you relax deeper through the skin of the body, through the tissues of the body, through the fascia, the webbing of the body that holds yourself together, through the lymphatic system that helps to hydrate everything and to keep things healthy, through the muscles that keep us alive and working and carry blood, through the bones, and just experience this profound stillness. Feel the effects of your practice. And then rest in your heart center. Sink deeper into your heart center with a very sweetness, a very lightness, with beauty, with wholeness. And then again, support your body with your breath. Support your energy with your breath. And bend your knees. Not moving too quickly. And then gently roll to the right side. Pausing again for a moment. Not quickly running into your habit of what you need to do next. Just allow yourself to experience. And then lift yourself up, leading with your heart. Close your eyes and bring your hands to rest with your thumbs making contact with your chest. So this mudra, this heart mudra, Anahata mudra, feel it right at the center of your body. And then bow your chin down one more time to just stretch the skin out at the back of the neck and to meet your Your nose down towards the thumbs. Take a nice rolling breath in, rolling breath out. Honor your practice, yourself, each other. Namaste, ladies. Going to stop that.